Ah, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semua. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Aditya Srianto. I am a student of Master Management in University State of Jakarta. First of all, I want to thank to my advisor, Professor Agung Darmawan Buhadi, MM PhD, and Dr. Eti Gurnawati, MSc AK, for the chance for me to presentation the research. My research is about the effect of ESG disclosure on company performance with CEO tenure as a moderating variable. The outline. There's five part of my research. The first is background, two research gap, three literature review, theoretical framework, four theoretical framework and hypothetical, five research method. The background. Environmental, social, and corporate governance factors play an increasing important role in the eyes of stakeholders such as investor, business manager, policymakers, particularly regarding the accuracy of disclosure in line with sustainable business practice. The importance of ESG factor in business has intensified following the adoption of the 2015 Paris Agreement by a number of developed and developing countries that pledge to achieve net zero emission in 2050. Furthermore, from an academic perspective, publications related to ESG have also experienced exponential growth since 2017 and continue to be a rather hotly debated topic, especially concerning the relationship with company financial aspect. Based on data from Indonesian Stock Exchange, as many as 873 companies, or around 97% of the total list issuers, have submitted sustainability reports for 2023 fiscal years, report in 2024. In accordance with the provision of POJK number 51, 27, where these reports represent a firm responsibility and compliance with the principle of disclosing company activities comprehensively, both from financial and non-financial aspect, which have implementary principle, environmental, social, and governance. If we look at the table in left, there's a ESG investment asset under management increase from 2014 to 2024. There's an increased investment in 2014. The investment is 38 billion rupiahs and reached the top level in 2024 to 18.2 trillion rupiahs. The trend of increasing ESG Indonesia shows that investors are increasingly considering sustainability factors in investment decision making. This condition also indicates the companies that implement good ESG practice tend to gain higher trust from investors, thereby potentially increasing the company value. In previous studies, the topic of ESG based investment in Indonesia shown increasing trend in has been extensively investigated and has employed quite diverse measurement method. Some studies examine the three components of ESG separately, yaitu environment, social, and governance, while the others use the overall ESG score and value. Previous research, like Friede et al., assumes that ESG has a positive effect on financial performance, and other research from Fatami et al. 2018 The result is ESG disclosure moderates fair value. And also Velte in 2017, the result is ESG is positive for return as asset, but not significant for Tobin-Skew. And also Boalei in 2019, ESG affects market performance. However, on the other hand, there is criticism regarding ESG disclosure that highlights the practical challenge and economic consequence faced by companies. Some arguments suggest that ESG reporting often becomes a heavy administrative burden, especially for small and medium-sized enterprises that do not have sufficient resources to meet strict ESG reporting standards. In addition, the implementation of ESG requires significant investment in technology, training, and reporting system that can reduce profit margin in short term. Based on previous research, it can be understood that there is still inconsistent in the research result. So it considered that there is still a research gap in the studies. The inconsistent result from peer studies caused the issue of ESG disclosure and its component to remain an important topic to be researched. This may be due to the missing moderating effect of other variables. With the presence of a moderating variable, the relationship between the two main variables can become clearer, stronger, weaker, and even change direction. Does the other includes CO tenor as a moderating variable? CO tenor, or the term of office of a CEO, refers to the period during which someone serves as a chief executive officer of a company. The duration of this tenure can affect various aspects company performance and strategy. A longer tenure often allows a CEO to implement a long-term vision, develop sustainable strategies, and build a strong corporate culture. A CEO can evaluate, adjust policy, and make decisions that significantly impact the company's growth given sufficient time. However, a overly long tenure can also pose risks such as tendency to become too comfortable with the status quo or resistant to change and innovation. In other hand, a very short term of office may not provide enough time for a CEO to demonstrate the result of policies and initiatives that have been implemented. The author conducts research on companies listed on the Indonesia Stock Exchange from 2017 to 2024. For this reason, the author will conduct research with the title "The Effect of ESG Disclosure on Company Performance with CO Tenor as a Moderating Variable." The problem formulation. The first is, does a company ESG disclosure affect firm values? Does CO tenor affect firm values? How does the moderation of CO tenor impact the effect of ESG disclosure on firm values? And the purpose of this research is testing the effect of the company ESG disclosure on firm values, testing the effect of company CO tenor on firm value, and testing the moderating impact of CO tenor on the effect of ESG disclosure on firm value. I hope the research contribution will provide empirical evidence of ESG on firm value in Indonesia, explaining the role of CO tenor in ESG implementation and serving as reference for investor and management. The theoretical foundation is based on signaling theory with ESG disclosure positive signal for investor. Signaling theory, commonly referred to as the signaling theory, was first proposed by Spence in 1973. Signaling theory is a concept economics and management that explains how parties with better information provide signal to parties with less information to reduce information asymmetry. And the second theory is upper echelon theory. Upper echelon theory was developed by Donald Hembrick and Phil Mason in 1984 and focused on the influence of top executive characteristics on organizational strategy and performance. This theory argue the strategic decision and company performance are influenced not only by external factors but also the physical, legal, and demographic characteristics of top leaders, such as age, education, experience, tenure, as well as their personal value and belief. According to this theory, executive with certain background, skill, and perspective will tend to steer the company in particular direction. Nah, in this research, variable independent is ESG disclosure. Uh, is ESG disclosure from Bloomberg rating, and variable dependent is from value, and the moderating variables is CEO tenor, and the controlling variable is leverage, size, CEO turnover, and COVID-19. Based on this data, the research hypothesis is ESG performance has a positive effect on firm value, and the second hypothesis is CEO tenders moderate the effect of ESG on firm value. The research method. The population is from the companies listed in IDX company from 2017 until 2024. The samples is the company with listed in the IDX with Bloomberg ESG scores. Analysis method, I will use descriptive statistic and panel data regression. Descriptive statistical methods are techniques used to collect and summarize data to provide useful information for easier understanding. The description of this variable is present from the frequencies that show the mean, median, maximum value, minimum value, range, and standard deviation. The panel data aggregation analysis. Panel data regression is used to perform analysis and unit that repeatedly observes over a certain period. The use panel data regression has several advantages, including the ability to accommodate individual heterogeneity, increase the number of observation, reduce multicollinearity problems, and produce more efficient estimates compared to cross-sectional or time series regression separately. The time series data in this study cover an 8-year period from 2017 to 2024. This study used balanced panel data where each unit offers a same number of observation. After that, we also know that panel data estimation model is there is a three type of model, three main approach. First is common effect model atau SEM or pool least square PLS. The second is the fixed effect model atau FEM, and the third is the random effect model. To decide where methods atau approach that can be used, we have to run multiple tests. The first test is a Chow test. The Chow test is used to determine the best model between the common effect model and the fixed effect model. The probability value is used as the basis for decision making. If the obtained probability value is less than the significant level, which means we use a 5%, the decision is to reject the hypothetical, which means the fixed effect model is chosen as the appropriate model. And if otherwise, the common effect model is the most suitable model. The second test is being used when the first test is the result is the fixed effect model. We have to choose the appropriate model between the fixed model and the random effect model. The analysis decision is determined based on the p-value result is same. Is the value is lower than the predetermined significant level, the null hypothetical is rejected. So the fixed effect model is considered the most appreciated model. The third test is the Bruns-Pagan-Lagrange multiplier testing method is applied to compare the feasibility between the common effect model and the random effect model. The decision is based on the chi-square distribution result. If the calculated chi-square value is smaller than the critical value based on the degrees of freedom, then null hypothetical is rejected and the random effect model is considered more appropriate. However, if the chi-square value is greater than the critical value, then null hypothetical is not rejected and the common effect model continues to be used. Kemudian, the next is after we decide which approach data panel to obtain regression result, they are valid and unbiased. We have to do classical assumption test. The test aim is to ensure the basic condition in regression analysis are met so that the estimation result become more reliable. The test is such a heteroscedasticity test, multi-collinearity test, and the autocorrelation test. After that, we do run to hypothesis testing. The test is like VF test, t-test, and coefficient of determination. The t-test is used to determine whether the regression model independent variable have significant individual effect on the dependent variable for each variable. In conducting the t-test, the commonly used significant level are 1%, 5%, and 10% if the t-significant value exceeds the specified significant level. In conducting a t-test, the commonly used significant level are 1%, 5%, and 10%. If the significant value exceeds the specified significant level, the hypothetical will be rejected. And the last is coefficient of determination. Ghazali in 2018 stated that the determination value show the percentage of how much the regression model is able to explain the dependent variable. Generally, the result of the testing the coefficient. I think this is the end. Thank you for the attention and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.